Good morning, family. Welcome to the Afrolatina show. I am your host, Alicia Anabel Santos, La Diosa Dominicana. Welcome to episode 37, Survival Through Suffering. Yo, we are on survival mode. I've been feeling a lot of things over the past few days, and much of it is connected to what's happening in the world, what's happening in our society, politically, what's happening in entertainment, what's happening in Hollywood, what's always been happening, but what's coming to the surface, what's rising, and what this means for all of us, right? What this means for humanity. And so I've been doing a lot of meditating over the past few days, like intentionally for hours, because I've wanted to get right inside of myself, because I am finding that I'm really quick to rage and really quick to anger, and it's not where or how I want to respond. It's not how I want to show up in the world. I understand that I have some lived experiences that are here to make me stronger, are my experiences, were things that I had to go through to teach me some things. And they were my lessons in survival. Like, there were specific things, events and moments in my life that happened to me that were, for me, lessons. And did I learn something, or am I repeating the same mistakes, right? That's really what comes up for me in like meditation. Am I repeating the same shit that put me in this fucked up situation over again? Am I making the same choices over and over again? Am I staying in things that don't serve me over and over again? How am I a contributor to my own kind of suffering? And what am I doing to pull myself out? So, yeah, I was listening to a meditation yesterday, and the theme was suffering. I woke up this morning and connected to my morning meditation. It was also about suffering, and everything that I was writing about yesterday was about suffering. And so I'm connecting it back to the art that I create and the story that I'm telling, and how can I apply what's happening today to what was happening to my characters then, and all the ways that they're suffering. How could I use suffering, my suffering and the suffering of the world, to sort of create, to nurture my art and to honor my craft? And so we know that this show is unscripted and unedited, and so we're just having this exchange. So I want to share my process, right? So I have a book that, if you could see, it's falling apart. The pages are like the binding is all messed up because I've read it so many times. The book is called One Continuous Mistake, 4 Noble Truths for Writers. But I think you can insert anything where the word writer is and apply it to your own life. So while this is written by a writer, for writers in mind, but I think this can be used and applied for people who are creating anything. Let's read. Introduction. And did I say the author's name? Gail Sher. Gailsher. Writing saved my life. Writing saved my life before I found writing. I had exhausted all the other ways of being in the world that I knew about. But as with anything that one makes entirely one's own, I had to reinvent writing. I had to unravel everything I had been taught and wind it back up again my way. I had to unravel everything I'd been taught and wind it back up again my way. Before I found writing, I longed for writing. In my earliest memory, I'm 4 and frustrated with my inability to have my words all gathered together on a piece of paper. Over the years, frustration endlessly reinvented itself. One version took the form of not writing. What can I write about? I'd think. Inflect this sentence 4 ways and you have the whole story. What can I write about? I have no subject. Can. I have no skill. I. Insignificant me. Write about implies savoring, highlighting, treasuring some aspect of my experience, but my experiences seemed small. Another version was a disconcerting sense of being peripheral to my life. The activity that belonged to me, I felt sure, was writing, but I couldn't find a way in to writing. I developed an intense nostalgia, as if a precious possession so familiar was being mysteriously withheld from me. The solution came via haiku, short, unrhymed Japanese poems capturing the essence of a moment. For several years, I wrote one haiku a day and then spent hours polishing those I had written on previous days. This tiny step proved increasingly satisfying. Gradually, it dawned on me that the healing factor was not the haiku, but the one per day. Without even knowing it, I had developed a practice. Every day, no matter what, I wrote one haiku. In my mind, I became the person who writes a haiku a day. That was the beginning of knowing who I was. When my haiku writing period turned into a generic writing period, I was launched. The focus was on attendance, being present for writing. It really didn't matter what I wrote during that time. Writing comes like an urge or a pulse, not to say something, but to be with words as they arise and then to shape them or craft them. The words could be wood. It makes no difference. One beats through me, pushes its way to the forefront, and appears on a page. I care about this. I care about the clarity of myself as a vessel, the utensils used, the paper as receptor, and the way the whole process unfolds. Silence for me is replete with possibility. Just at dusk, I seat myself cross-legged in my wooden chair. Before me, placemat-like, is a square Japanese cloth upon which rests a quilted box holding all my writing utensils. I position my notebook on the cloth beside my skinny blue mechanical pencil and stick eraser. The pink eraser tip just emerges from its clear plastic sheath, oddly phallic. I'm surrounded by flat, bare surfaces. I am straight-backed, warm, well-supported. I close my eyes and begin with a prayer. I relax into the luxury of here, the richness of the shape, the soft light, the pure quiet. My consciousness spins toward a vortex in the center of which is a word. It is mine, and I write it down. I am steady, unperturbed. I have no feeling outside of this steadiness, a taut yet receptive state of being awake. Listening for the sound of a word, I am totally still, except for the slight motion of my hand guiding the pencil. And I want to share one more thing. It is from her part one, a writing habit. This idea of creating rituals for ourselves, right? She talks about 4 noble truths for writers. It is not just the food in front of us, but our readiness to receive, to be blessed with food that allows food to do its feeding. Ed Brown, Zen priest and master chef, astutely observes. Just so, our readiness to receive and to be blessed by our writing allows it to nourish us. Our readiness to receive and to be blessed by our writing allows it to nourish us. If you are a writer, you have probably noticed that when you are writing, it feels correct that when you are not writing, when there is no room for writing in your life, it feels incorrect. When you write, you sit down with the intention to be. If you are a writer, writing and being are the same. If you are a writer, writing and being are the same. Of course, we bring each, according to our temperament, more to it, though each of our mores has a different flavor, all are somewhat extraneous to the practice aspect of writing. Only intention is essential. When Ed Brown says our readiness to receive, he's talking about intention. The value of a vow. A practice is a vow. I vow to have a writing period every day is in perfecting its methodology. Isan Dorsey, a Zen priest at San Francisco Zen Center, used to say, you don't clean to make things clean so much. You clean even if it's not a mess. You just go around and make things look like somebody paid attention to them. Eason's advice is equally applicable to writing. Cleaning is not about achieving some once and for all pristine state of immaculateness. Human beings clean, writers write. It is the most fundamental of the Four Noble Truths for writers. 1, writers write. 2, writing is a process. 3, you don't know what your writing will be until the end of the process. 4, if writing is your practice, the only way to fail is to not write. And so I wanted to add, insert any word there. Writers write, partners paint, painters paint, singers sing, dancers dance, actors act, visionaries create, innovators do, leaders lead, activists act. Operative word is action, right? We do, we create, we move. And so I wanted to share that because I am catching myself in all of this suffering, committing some mistakes that could be vital to my sense of self and my identity and my intention. If I don't catch it in the act of it, like how I respond to, something that happens in the street, someone that may disrespect me or slam a door on my face or step on my toe or not hold the door open for me or not say thank you when I hold the door open for them. There are all kinds of things that can trigger us at any moment. And so what we need to start recognizing is how we react to those specific scenarios, and the root of it being this suffering, and that we're all suffering through something. Last week, I watched some videos about this beef that's happening with The Rock and Tyrese. And so that shit left me really, really upset. Tyrese Gibson and Dwayne Johnson, two actors who are a huge part of the franchise, The Fast and the Furious. I'm not going to get into the beef because I'm not really interested in what's going down, but I will share some of the things that disturb me about this public beef. One of the videos that I watched was The Rock talking about Tyrese's album, some album he put out, and he called it trash. He called it, like, he completely destroyed him for me. I don't know if it destroyed him, but for me, he completely publicly humiliated him, calling his album like the biggest piece of shit he has ever heard in his life. And it was ugly, like ugly. It was ugly to watch. It was ugly to hear. And I was watching, Dwayne Johnson's face, and I was appalled and I was disgusted and I was incredibly disappointed because I love The Rock, yo. I fucking love The Rock. I am a big fan of the show Ballers, and now I'm not a fan of you, Rock. Dwayne Johnson, I'm not a fan of you. I'm not a fan of you because I cannot believe that in a public way you kicked a brother while he was down. Let's talk about Tyrese for a moment. Tyrese is he's no fucking victim. Tyrese has done said some really shitty things about women. He's a misogynist and sexist, and there's all kinds of shit about Tyrese. But right now, in Tyrese's life, he's dealing with some really fucked up things. His wife is fighting for sole custody of their child. And there is some, it has been alleged that he has abused and assaulted his wife and child. Yo, I wouldn't want you around my child, Tyrese. I'm sorry. But that's not even what I would talk about. Like I am absolutely against any man, any human being putting their hands on anyone else. Let's start from that place. And so if Tyrese, you're guilty of that, I'm sorry. Get yourself together. Get yourself right. No, you should not have access to your child or your wife because you are no good for them right now in your state. What I do want to address is the fact that Tyrese is suffering. He is suffering publicly. He is in so much pain, crying. I saw videos of him wearing a sweatshirt with his daughter's name on it, Shayla Rocks, crying out that he hasn't seen his baby in months and that he's going broke and that he can't get work and that his wife has, blackballed him in the industry and he can't get a job. And I've been watching a lot of like responses to all of that, and I've been seeing a lot of tweets clowning him about that. Tyrese is suffering, yo. And that's what I'm really upset with The Rock about. I'm really disappointed, Dwayne Johnson, because this motherfucker is falling apart in front of our eyes. All of humanity is seeing this happen. We are watching someone deteriorate and have a nervous breakdown before our eyes. And how do we respond to that? We kick them when they're down? Listen, I wanted to share that. I wanted to share that story only to point out an example of one person suffering. There are many people suffering right now, and we have no idea what they're dealing with and what they're going through. There are people, and the fall is bittersweet because there are so many beautiful things about this season, right? October, November, December, when it comes to family get-togethers and giving thanks and sharing love and spreading love and being joy and hope and seeing little kids smiling and wanting to sit on Santa Claus' lap and all of these wonderful things. But people are suffering. People are also dealing with loss, loss of family members, lovers, parents, sisters, siblings, friends, heroes, mentors. And we're all carrying collectively this suffering. And how are we responding? What are we doing to shift that energy? So I think that for those of us who are the light workers, those of us who are the empaths, those of us who are the painters, dancers, writers, singers, actors, visionaries, innovators, activists, educators, mothers, fathers, I think that we have a huge responsibility to help heal some of the things that are happening. I open with the quote about Four Noble Truths because the truth is that for me, writing is the thing that opened this pathway for my spiritual practice, for my healing, for dealing with my suffering on the page, for responding to a lot of the ways that I have been assaulted and abused and violated and disrespected. And so writing is the tool that I use as a healer to heal myself and hopefully play a role in healing the world. That's the truth. And so how can we aid folks who are suffering? I'm going to leave that there and let's meditate. Let's close. I'll leave that for you to think about and share with me your ideas and thoughts about what we need and what we can do to be better human beings right now. Get comfortable. put your hands where you need them. Take some deep breaths. I want you to think about one person that you know who is suffering right now. I want you to see that person. I want you to see why they might act the way they act, or say the things that they say, or do the things that they do. I want you to see this person. I want you to see them suffering. And I want you to see yourself having a conversation with this person. A conversation that you're just listening. You're not there to fix it. You're not there to have any advice. You're there to be quiet and be fully present and really listen and see this person. Allow them to suffer before your eyes without wanting to put a Band-Aid on it, without wanting to condescend or make them feel small about it. Just listen. Now I want you to see how you can have compassion for this person. How when they're sharing, you can see that suffering in yourself. You have a wonderful opportunity to just be love and light for this person. How can you do that? What can you give them? And when you're ready, come out of your meditation. Reach out to that person today. I would really love that. I would really love for you to call that person or send a text to that person and let them know that you're thinking about them, that you know that they're going through something, and that you're here whenever they want to talk, if they want to talk, or if they just want to sit in a room quiet and watch an episode of Empire, whatever. How can we be better human beings, right? How can we be better? How can we walk? How can we survive through all this suffering? I know for me, survival looks like I need to write more than I've ever fucking written in my life. Survival for me means that I need to pray more than I've ever prayed in my life. Survival for me means that I need to turn inward and get quiet and get still and really see and hear the things that are happening around me and find ways to respond to those things that are healthy, that are loving, that are kind and gentle. I know for me, survival looks like compassion and empathy and understanding and a lot of shut up, Alicia. Hold that in, hold that back. You don't respond to every single thing. You don't need to. Let the universe handle that. And so I'm wishing you all a really beautiful day, right? Let's set an intention. My intention for today is to have compassion for those that I walk, for every person that I walk by on the street, every person that I lock eyes with. I'm going to send them this vibration of compassion, that I see them. My dears, that's it for today. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm sending you all love and peace. And writers write, painters paint. Let's get to work. There are things I would love for us all to begin to shift the energy of all the ugly that we're seeing out there, because I know that I need to take a pause from a lot of the social media stuff that I've been responding to, because I don't want to walk around with this hate. We're living in a very hateful time, and I need to switch that in my life. I need to move in love, because anything other than that is poison. Have a beautiful day. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Share with everyone you love and know. And please leave your feedback. Leave your reviews on my iTunes. Send me a love note. Send me anything you want to talk about. You can email me at info.aliciaanabel@gmail.com. And I'm all over IG, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr. Peace out.